You know, if it's Tuesday, it's all about the docket.
Kamakawa.
And last night was explosive. So
Design.
Edwin Obuya, Fanya Mambo, Kenovia, Patrick Igunza. Today, I guess it's all about the interview. I'll see you.
Wamunyoro Chronicles.
As the Standard says this morning.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
What?
This is the best yet that Wamunyoro has put it out there.
I hope Hannah helicopter.
And if you heard what Wamunyoro is saying, you conclude that the whole government is a crime scene. It's a crime scene.
The whole government
is a crime
scene.
Kwanza
State House.
Yes, because what Wamunyoro was saying, he was painting a picture of a failed state. We are actually literally doing business with everything that we are doing, from SHA, from housing, from M23, RSF, or whatever. You know, he painted a very, very grim picture of President William Ruto. And you know, you might want to dismiss Gachagua and say maybe he's bitter, that's why he's saying all those things. But, you know, Gachagua says them. Muturi says them. Who is going to say them next? Would it be Mithika Milinturi? Will he also come out and say, I wasn't involved in fertilizer, it was President Ruto and Devuki, as claimed by Wamunyoro? Because he made some very serious allegations. And he's becoming a pain in the backside of the government. He's literally becoming a serious pain in the backside of the government. Because, you know, the thinking was that 3 months later, Gachagua will be forgotten.
Yeah, he'll be irrelevant.
Very irrelevant. But every time he speaks, you know, the president will have to answer him. And that makes him very relevant. Ichunga will have to answer him. You know, all those government machinery will be deployed today. You will see lots and lots of press conferences, press releases to try and answer what Riggy was saying, because he made some serious, very serious allegations, especially on issues of Sudan and issues of Rwanda and DRC. Those are issues that can, you know, are going to put it as in a very bad light in the region.
God made, in his wisdom and in his love for the country, made Riggy the leader of official opposition, because right now he's the leader of official opposition. And there's no other person who can check William Ruto better than Riggy. So it's a good time to be alive, and we thank God that he was impeached, because William Ruto would have gone and checked. Can you imagine the way now Raila Amolo Odinga has joined William Ruto, and then there is nobody to check on this guy? The president would have done anything. And on international relations, we've done really bad. You've seen what we did with RSF. And Kenya lost 5 billion in terms of...
Is there substantive evidence about that?
Well, what other evidence do you need other than people coming to KICC? How do those people come to KICC? How do you allow them at the heart of the city, the International Convention Center? That's where they were. What other evidence do you want?
A national monument.
I wish they were... It's a national monument. Hata iko kwa pesa yetu. I wish they were doing it somewhere in the bush. Tusikie at RSF wameshikwa pamoja na bandits. That would have been different. But KICC, our national monument that our money has the photo of, and they were there and they were hosted by our state. No. And Sudan is not abnormal when they said they're not going to import anything from us. We've already lost exports worth 5 billion. That's a lot of money. Then Munenda could launch 2 projects for 600,000. A region that sells that very tea. Because now Kangema, it's one place that has a lot of tea that comes from there. And by the way, we have the best tea in the world. So a region that sells that kind of tea is going to lose business worth 5 billion. And then the person who's made you lose business worth 5 billion is coming with helicopters, as Wamunyoro said, 9 of them, spending 4 million to launch a class for 600,000. Now, this is the kind of economics that is bottom up.
The rebels were here at KICC. We asked ourselves, why is the government allowing them to come to KICC and launch a party? You know, it sounded off. And whatever Ruto also tried to do when it was trying to solve the DRC crisis, you know, it backfired. When he said he had called Macron, it really backfired on him. You know, part of our embassy was stoned and even set ablaze, part of it. And so we are not at a good place as a country, and these allegations by Wamunyoro are just making things worse. But Jeff, they say when an alligator comes out of the water and tells you the crocodile is sick, you can't doubt it, because you don't live there. We don't know what the happenings of the Kenya Kwanza government. Now we are hearing them. Riggy is telling them as it is. Muturi said them as it were. And so you might claim that they are bitter. That's why they are saying all these things they are saying. But they are corroborating what they are saying. Muturi talked about the trip that he went to Dubai, and he was told when he arrived in the airport, sign these documents, and he was like, wait, what documents am I signing? Nani corroborates whatever that was said, or Munyoro corroborates whatever that Muturi said. However much you want to think that they are bitter and they are lying, but there's some ounce of truth from whatever they are saying.
Tell me something. What does this do about our foreign policy? Because if you're telling rebels in Sudan to form a parallel government, what does that do to our foreign policy?
It doesn't, because the countries do that, but they do it secretly. You don't have to show it openly that you are siding with the rebels. And but Kenyans as a whole, our foreign policy has been wishy-washy for the longest time. Even when South Africa were fighting apartheid, we literally were not a part of the struggle of South Africans, and that's why they think they owe more to Tanzania than they do to us, because we were never there for them. We
sold out.
Yes, and whatever is happening in Sudan right now, for a government, a legitimate government, to host rebels that are fighting there, and that the general there is has some very serious crimes against humanity that are against him, and for Amunyoro then to claim that the real commander of RSF is President William Ruto, it doesn't augur well for our country. It doesn't augur well for our country.
Sudan did not retaliate well. I wish they had consulted me, because I would have told Sudan what you need to do is to look for Mungiki and Chinkororo, and you tell them to launch a party within Sudan. Then the government will understand the magnitude of what they are doing. Look for those rebel movements that have tried to exist here, including one that was headed by a guy called Matakwei. Mount Elgon alikuwa anavaa Sabaot Land Defense Forces. And there were these other guys in Mombasa. What were they called? The ones who were saying Pwani si Kenya. What they needed to do is to get these leaders together, put them at the KICC of Sudan, I don't know what it's called, and then once they put them at the KICC of Sudan, tell them, we want you to launch a party here, and we want you to say that you have the government support of Sudan now to go and do politics within Kenya as a party that has been launched here. So you put Chinkororo, Mungiki, those guys of Matakwei and all the others in the capital city of South Sudan. Then tell William Ruto, now take this cup of tea. This is what you're giving us. Because the problem with him is not understanding what he's doing. And I had always told people, like Muturi has now said, and Nani has also confirmed, and President Uhuru Kenyatta had tried telling us so many times, William Ruto is not fit to be president of the Republic of Kenya. People did not think it was, people thought that Uhuru was just hating on William Ruto. But now even the international community, even a mad guy within Zaire, Congo, knows that this guy is not fit to be president, because when they have a conflict, he's calling the French people. And that's why they're banning our embassy. Because some of the things he said yesterday covered everything, including the president's trip to the region. And I like some of the things that are coming out now, that it is very important, and William Ruto did not take the Mount Kenya tour seriously. I think William Ruto does not understand what it means to have Mount Kenya. Now, Mount Kenya is a
this is the guy who used to camp there every weekend. Come on.
No,
when
Mount
he was vice
Kenya
president.
is a very huge economy. People look at it. He was looking at it in terms of numbers. He's never, in terms of votes, that is. He's never looked at it in terms of its economic power. It's an economic powerhouse that is worth about 2.7 trillion Kenya shillings. It's got about 26% of our GDP. That region there, combined, is bigger than 37 African countries in terms of GDP. It's bigger than Rwanda, it's bigger than Lesotho, it's bigger than Malawi, it's bigger than 37 African countries. It is better for a president to tour that region because its GDP is bigger than Malawi. So for him to live here and go to Malawi or Lesotho or Zimbabwe or Zambia, it is going to Mount Kenya is better than going to Mauritius. It's an economy bigger than Mauritius. They have over 627,000 registered businesses. In Nairobi yetu tunaringa nayo hapa, it only has 345,000 registered businesses. And registered businesses tells you teams. It tells you KRA pin. So it tells you taxes, it tells you money, it tells you how much they contribute to this economy. But you have a guy going there to launch a classroom worth 600,000. That is the value of one Pro Box, an old one on the road. And there are so many of those Pro Boxes on the road anyway. So what he's doing, he's launching the equivalent of a Pro Box. Siangepatwa tuma Pro Box mingi ya launch. So that presidential tour in Mount Kenya was an insult to the people of Mount Kenya. However, it is good because it put a lot of money in the people's pocket. I like when he said that President William Ruto was talking to his money. And it is true, because everybody who was mobilized went there and everybody enjoyed the money. But we are saying, again, we had given them a disclaimer. It's not the kind of money you use to buy milk for your children. In ya kulipa madeni mbaya.
You know, one of the sound bites za Riggy jana is when, you know, he was being asked about Moses Kuria being sacked and being made an advisor. And he said, you cannot chase your wife away and then employ her to be a maid. So, in other words, he's saying Moses Kuria was chased as a wife and then made to be a maid
brought back
in Ruto's house. And so, the trip, it was largely successful to Ruto supporters. They, they expected maybe their crowds will not be coming.
Hostile.
Maybe hostile environment, and we only had one or two instances where Moses Kimani Ichung'wah and one or two MPs were booed in the presence of President Ruto. So largely it was incident free, and whether money exchanged hands or not, those are normal political machinations that happen when such a things are happening. And so the president knows that right now he still faces a very hostile Mount Kenya region. I think the way he went there was not the way he has been going there previously, because he has been going there as a hero. In fact, akina Fanya Mambo took President William Ruto as a hero. Actually, they claimed that
which Fanya Mambo? You have another one, you. Not
they
me.
claimed that he removed them from the yoke of dynasty, and Kenyattaism. And so he was a hero. He was a savior to them. But right now, I think they have known who he is. And when you hear Riggy saying, speaking the way he's speaking, I think he's talking the pulse of the mountain as at the moment.
It's called eating humble pie. What happens now? He spilled the beans. He's dropped the bombshell. And I know State House will be scrambling to do some...
he claimed it's Tumbi who does all the communication.
You saw that?
I wouldn't be surprised, because all the messaging that comes out is horrible. So the day it stops becoming horrible, then I'll believe it's now no longer Itumbi. But for as long as we are getting the kind of messaging that we are getting from State House, including a presidential speech that came directly from ChatGPT calling young people criminals, then you would accept. I mean, that can only be Itumbi. I mean, I don't think President William Ruto went and told ChatGPT, make for me a speech. That is Itumbi craft, and it is very clear. And for as long as you continue relying on Itumbi to make speeches for you and Isaac Maura to deliver them, then you know what will happen. And I like
too much nini.
I like let's be fair to him. The only mistake Isaac Maura made was accepting a position bigger than he could handle. Actually, hana makosa. It's just that a position emerged and he accepted it, but he didn't know the magnitude of that position, and he didn't know what it means. That's why of late the chief government spokesman has not spoken, but he's being paid for not speaking anyway. and he exists there, which is okay. Let's just allow him.
Okay. Obuye says the central visit was successful for the most part. Do you agree?
Yes, it was very successful. It was very, very successful because, number one, Kimani Ichung'wah was really heckled. That is success. You know, the people of Kikuyu had started entertaining funny ideas. They had started saying, oh, this guy has built a lot of roads and so on. Granted, he's built a lot of roads. But I have always told the people of Kikuyu constituency, please don't lose it. We need to understand one another. It is no use for somebody to come and build for you a road, and then he is the leader of majority in parliament, orchestrates bills in parliament that make it impossible for you to take your child to primary school, because right now there is no funding for primary schools. High school capitation is not available. The same guy makes sure that there is a funny university funding model. So you're a guy in Kikuyu saying you're enjoying tarmac, but you cannot take your children to school because you cannot afford. The same guy comes and gives you SHA, a horrible health insurance policy that makes sure that a poor person within Kikuyu constituency cannot be treated at a public hospital. And then he tells you to clap for him and to be happy because he has built a road from you. I dare submit to the people of Kikuyu constituency, Kimani Ichung'wah has taken away from you more than he has given you.
But he might be re-elected.
No, you see, the problem lies therein that sometimes the people who voted for William Ruto still have a vote in their pocket. And their software has not changed. Their way of thinking has not changed. So we have a lot of work to do in these TV stations and everywhere to start changing the software of the people who voted for William Ruto. Because I'm dangerously afraid that they still have a vote in their pocket. And their mind hasn't been changed that much. So we have a lot of work to do to change the way these people think. Otherwise, they might surprise us in the next election.
By winning?
No, by just voting for something that looks like somebody.
That Fanyamambo won't accept.
No, William. There's no way William is going to win the next election. That I can tell you for free. But there's an aggressive registration of people in there's ASAL counties. They said that those people are not refugees. They're just Kenyans who had been denied IDs. And they said they're going. You remember Duale saying they're going to register 3 million of them.
3 million.
But I have some little advice for Duale. I think one of the things that you could first do is, now that we are unable to stop you, see, Fanyamambo cannot stop you from registering them. There's nothing I can do to stop you. I can only make noise about it. Maybe I'll encourage you to also give them KRA PIN numbers, ili waanze kulipa ushuru, and put them up on e-teams, so you have 3 million new taxpayers, and also make sure they pay for SHA. Those guys, the 3 million that you want to register. You said only 4 million people are paying for SHA. Now you have an extra 3 million. It makes them 7 million. Let them pay taxes for the next 2 years. Na wakatwe mpaka housing fund. Kama wako na pesa, wakatwe mpaka hii housing. Then let us see if they are going to vote for William Ruto. The only reason they might vote for him is because they don't have a KRA pin. But the minute they get a KRA pin, na waanze kukatwa housing levy, na wale nyumba zao ziko karibu na riparian wafukuzwe, waambiwe sasa kuna jengo affordable housing. Now, all those things that Kenyans are going through, make sure that those 3 million people you want to register go through the same things that we are going through as Kenyans. Then let us see if they are going to vote for William Ruto.
You know, one of the education experts was saying, people are crying about this housing levy and you don't have classes. Instead of you building houses for people who don't want the houses, why can't you build laboratories or
affordable classrooms, or
classrooms in each and every constituency? Because that then will make sense. Because nani ana kwao that and when you hear Riggy talking about it and saying that it's just a business deal, you know, to make sure that, and I don't know how Devki is powerful in this government. Labda ndio Elon Musk wa huku, because every time you hear a deal, you know, he's being mentioned.
Devki yako
hapo ndani, Wadani, whatever, everything. There's his hand in each and every project that goes on in government. And when you hear Riggy saying that, you know, it's just a business deal to make sure they sell cement and to make sure they sell steel for, you know, to make make money out of it. It is a painful tax to pay, and you are paying that tax knowing fully well that I might never ever own that house. And I have a network of friends, and none of them, you know, hata ana hopes kwamba ataipata hiyo nyumba.
Utapata?
None has hopes.
Tell me something. Is it true that Farouk Kibet is co-president?
That's what Riggy says. And like I said, when an alligator comes out of the water and tells you, you know, the crocodile is sick, you must believe that alligator.
You have no choice.
You have no choice.
Unless uingie kwa mto.
Unless uingie uko ndani uangalie kama hiyo crocodile kweli ni sick ama si sick. But we have had stories, Jeff. We have had stories of how powerful Farouk is. We have, you know, yesterday Riggy said CSS tremble at the sight of the personal assistant of the president
in the corridors.
Yes, akimwona hivi wana left guru anahepa
wanaingiza njia
akimwona anahepa. And but we've had those stories before, how powerful Farouk is. We've had stories of how he has slapped some people, you know, whether they are true or not. There were stories that once he slapped Fanyamambo's MP, You know, we have had those stories before. We can't really
That was wrestling.
Na Swahili usema alisemwalo lipo
kama lipo basi laja. Na kwa hivyo we've had those stories, and when Riggy just speaks about them, when Riggy says that he was being given instructions by Farouk, you would want to believe him, because he appears to be a very powerful man for a PA. And when Ruto says he's a small man, you know, you get conflicted.
We want to be as far as possible from President William Ruto.
Reason?
Just because your mind might get contaminated with horrible nation-destroying ideas. We don't want to be anywhere near where our brain can get contaminated with ideas of destroying this nation, because everything that Kenya Kwanza has come up with is an idea to make the lives of Kenyans horrible and hard. I have not seen something that Kenya Kwanza has come up with that Kenyans have felt, wow, this is it. This is a life-changing thing. Everything from health to everything, mpaka airport, they have just been horrible deals. And that's why I told God, keep me as far away as possible from these people. Nikisikia wanaenda KICC na niko CBD, muenda Kikuyu. I just want to be far from
Yeah, but before that, you said the same thing about Riggy. Sasa
saizi alikuwa hata
I'll tell you why.
I think alimwa company kwa
Hugo.
Mombasa Road.
Let me say something. You know, I have always made it very clear. We did not join Riggy. Riggy joined us. We were on this side, we were very few, and we were not strong. We were weak. We were fighting against a bad regime. We thank God for sending us Riggy, because Riggy has serious bombshells, and when he releases them, they cause tremors, and they are impactful. Why would I want to fight Riggy? I have always said, I had never thought of him as an angel. I had never thought of him as a great guy. But right now, he's proving to have the best missiles in the war against the impunity of William Ruto. So right now, yes, I support Riggy, and I support his ideals, and I support the fact that he's fighting William Ruto, to the extent that he continues doing that.
do you think he's giving the president sleepless nights?
He's not just giving him sleepless nights, he's giving him nightmares. Our president is having nightmares.
So he must tune in whenever he knows that
I don't think he's able to stomach the whole interview. Probably he just says, Muniambia zidi amesema. So the people who have a hard job right now is NIS. Because I think they tune in all TVs and they make sure power does not run out for even 30 seconds. They don't even want an internet interruption. I think they listen to everything, they write down everything, they take note of everything. And Riggy is going to be the biggest weapon that we have against this administration.
I hope hana helicopter.
So we pray for his good health actually. Kama sasa aachane na mahelicopter asitumie, hata kama ni kutembea na miguu atembee, na avoid all sorts of places of. And you saw what happened on Sunday when they sent goons to attack him in church. And I want to thank every member of that church who took it upon themselves and said, no, we are repulsing these goons. And they repulsed the goons. And to every young person who went to that church, shame on you. Because no matter how much money anybody gives me, I would never attack a church. I would never allow myself to find myself going into a church to throw chairs or to do the sort of things they did. So to every young person who did that, shame on you.
Riggy was in the system from day one.
That's why I'm calling him an alligator. He knows, he was there, he knows all these things.
When they rejected Kindiki during that vote in Karen that day, unakumbuka?
Yes.
Paka midnight, what
we
was
stayed there paka around 6:30. You know, Riggy is a powerful man, he's a forceful man. And Ruto is also a very forceful man. And from what he was saying yesterday, you know, they walikosana over 4 or 5 times na president. Anamwambia fanya hivi, anamwambia no, I can't do that. This is not. Faruku anasema fanya hivi, anamwambia no, I can't do that. Even Muturi apparently was told to sign, and then he said I can't sign. Mara ya Ror Kimorer Dam akamwambia go and regularize. He said no, we have lost money. This is a lot of money. We can't regularize this. And so when you hear such a stories, you know, you understand how government works. Because at times sisi unaonanga tu nje, unaona ka press conference kidogo, you think that's how government works, but there are lots of underhand dealings that happen during normal workings of
Obuya, what do you do as president today?
I don't know because Ruto is
you consult Itumbi.
Ruto is a very hard place, between a rock and a hard place actually. Yes. Because as of now, I want to imagine that to people, to some people, is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Because there are some people who I think they have lost faith completely with the presidency of William Ruto, and whatever he does, I don't think is going to change the mind of some people like Fanyamambo who have lost faith totally with the presidency of President William Ruto. But if I were him, I will go back and look at whatever is happening. School capitation, is it working? University funding model, is it working? Is it this housing, whatever, is it necessary? Because even as of now, money is being saved in treasury bills. They are not building because the money is too much. Wamechukua pesa paka imekuwa mingi sana.
Too much.
They can't build, they can't use it to build because they are now saving them or buying treasury bills. However much you want to ignore Riggy, you have to answer him, because whatever he said, Jeff, whatever he said yesterday, those are things with huge implications. Huge implications. If you are saying that the president's only aim is make businesses, each and every deal that comes is just about business. And by the way, I would dare ask what happened to planting 15 billion trees, because the story just died.
This is nonsense. Why do you need $1 billion to plant trees? If today the minister for environment, not even the president, just gave a directive.
Who is the
We have to Google. Even the DP I'm trying.
Ilikuwa Duale
left. Oh, it's my Gunza's auntie, Deborah.
Baraza sasa.
Yeah. Now is the CS environment.
Mambo ya mazingira.
I will write that down because we keep forgetting that. What I'm trying to say is,
Why do you need
see,
a billion?
if they gave a directive that every school going child just look for a tree and plant somewhere.
Yeah, but you have to buy the seedlings.
No, we would have 10 million trees. Let me tell you, if you go to Ngong Forest Sanctuary here, a seedling is about 10 shillings. So when we were small, in fact, it was easy. Tuliambua, there's this tree called Mokindori. It has got some seeds.
It's blue gum.
No, not blue gum.
No,
There's another.
Mokindori.
Yes, different. There are seeds too.
Zinamwagikanga
mingi sana. We were told to all go and plant a few. And by then they just grow. Put them on soil, cover and every person had about 20 seedlings. They cost us zero. Just collecting Mokindori seedlings and planting. If Kenya wanted to plant even 14 million trees tomorrow morning, there are 14 million children who are going to school. And each child will be happy to plant a tree. Kwani tumbo yao inatoshana aji imekula mpaka misitu yote. Have you been to Ngong Forest of late, by the way?
What's happening?
There is nothing. Trees have been cut down. Logging is happening at an alarming rate. And hapa Kikuyu, just opposite some club there, owned by a friend of mine.
Hey,
called
Hideout.
Just go opposite Hideout. Just outside Hideout there. That is the center. They cut down all our trees on Ngong Forest. They ferry them there. They are selling them from there. I'm telling Kenyans things they know. Ingia Ngong Forest ni kipara. Katikati hakuna kitu, kando tu ndio munaona miti inakaa ni kama kuna this. It is bad, Jeff. Near Lenana School. If you just go and stand at the gate of Lenana School, and I'm glad I found a TV station taking some shots there yesterday. Just near Lenana School, on that side of the railway. That whole place, wamekata kila kitu. They've cleared the whole natural forest. And you know what's happening in Karura Forest? I have never seen an administration this greedy. Why are you saying that you want $1 billion to plant trees? Na munakatakata miti. Serikali inauza mpaka kuni Jeff. Kuni.
Which was banned.
Yeah, so I have never seen an administration go this low. Our forests are done. Silikwambia kwetu wamekuja walikuwa wanataka kuchukua riparian. Tumekataa. Na tumekataa hata wamefika mahali wameona hii moto imekuwa mingi.